Welcome back to the Grieving Sisters. I'm Jessica. Elizabeth. I mean, and for real, like you should really know us by now, but I'm glad that everyone's here to join us. And we have a special guest. I'm so excited. We all just met her, honestly, like right now, but we so connected over social media. And uh, it- I always say social media is a gift and a curse because you really get to meet some really wonderful people. It's like your modern day pen pals, and maybe did I age myself?
Maybe.
My bad. So, but it's like, Stacy and I, we kind of like talk through Instagram.
Right.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
Stacy, introduce yourself.
All the way
Introduce
from Baltimore.
Be
We got Stacy
Yeah.
from Be More.
be more.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, our connection happened so organically just through social media and connecting. So thank you so much. And so I'm Stacy from Baltimore, Maryland, and I I've experienced a lot of grief over the past few years. And that journey really has woven itself, so much into who I am today and kind of
Sure.
my rebirth, if you will, my change of
Mhm.
identity. I lost my dad to young onset dementia, and over the past couple of years, I've experienced several other major losses. And through all of that, I've just really learned how much grief has can change us.
Yeah.
Not just in those loss of moments, but in how we see ourselves, how we love, um, just how we show up in the world. So yeah, so
It
I'm
kind of
here
weakens you, right?
to
Like it
share
like
my story
shakes
a little
you.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it like shakes you up, I
Yeah.
feel like. And obviously
Mm-hmm.
that's how this was born because it kind of just shook us to our core,
Mm-hmm.
obviously for you watching the videos, my brother over there and her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, oh, she's there.
Where is she?
And there, and that's how this was born. So, so what really I found profounding that you were talking about that you have become a grief coach. Now, tell us a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about that and how, like, what really made you become a grief coach.
So throughout my career, I've had a career in special education and infant and early childhood mental health, and I've been a coach of early educators for, my gosh, at least 15 years. And so coaching is a huge part of me, and I love being able to connect with people and have reflective conversations and really help people grow and learn from others. And after I had experienced, you know, losing my dad,
Mm.
followed by losing my brother-in-law, my father-in-law,
Wow.
my grandmother, all within this like really short period of time, I I really had no choice, I felt, but to start doing some
The
deep work
cumulative grief. Yeah.
in into healing.
Yeah.
And so I came across a program via social media. And at first I was like, what is this? What is this grief coaching? I've never really heard of this. So I did some exploring, and right before I had entered the Grief to Purpose program, which I can talk a little more about, um, I had been laid off. So on top of all of these losses, it was like the straw that broke the
You
camel's
just
back.
want,
I was laid off.
we really feel
I
you
was
on
We're
that
like,
one.
living parallel lives.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, is this for real? Like anything else? So I was in this space of like, what am I doing with my life? I want to connect with people, but I was like scared to go back into the field I had just been laid off from. And um, yeah, so I thought, why not coach people
Grief.
through, finding themselves again after experiencing loss, because it changes so much about ourselves, about our being, about our lives, um, how we show up. And yeah, so I just went with it. And I went through a program that what I loved about it was part of the requirements were that we do our own healing as well as taking courses to become a coach to help others.
Wow.
Because really, when we go to be a coach, I mean, if we're not willing to do all of that work ourselves and start understanding why we are the way we are and how grief has affected us. We can't really expect that of other people. So
Right.
yeah,
I love
that was
that.
kind
I
of
love
how
and that
I
does make so much sense that like
Mhm.
you I think personally you do have to do the work in order to really have that experience, right? I think that we
Mhm.
kind of talked
Mhm.
about that a little bit too, right, Liz?
Yeah, yeah. It's just, you said something that really resonated with me, and it's kind of like everything changes and everything's different.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like
Mhm.
you, the world keeps going, but you
Mhm.
yourself, the world is completely different to you. So it's
Mhm.
you learning how to do everything all over again, carrying this like shift in your in everything, and like the way you feel, the way you show up, the way you are. Simple things like going to the gym again, doing all the things you
Mhm.
used to do. There are certain things that you just can't do, or that you are compelled to do, things that you people you want to be around, people you don't want to be around. So it's like I've never heard of a grief coach until I lost my sibling either. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting how you don't even really know about these resources. But I think that's what's so important about the work that me and Jess and that you're doing as well, is like letting everyone know like this sort of help is out here, you know,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
out here. And essentially it's just really one big community. I say it all the time. Grief is an intelligence that you need to integrate for the rest of your life. I
Mhm.
mean, the growth
Absolutely.
that I feel like people get when they've gone through this grief, it's
Mhm.
like you kind of get like a second chance at life
Mhm.
after going through something like this, right? Because you have all this, you're compelled to like, well, I'm gonna live now, and
Right.
how am I gonna live and
Yeah.
how am I gonna show up and what is my purpose? And
Right.
a lot of things that you used to think were really important, you realize
Especially
Mhm.
your
are
time.
not so important. Do you feel that way too, Stacy? Do you feel like so many things
Yes.
just felt very minute?
Wow.
Yes. 100%. And I I always call myself like a recovering people pleaser
Mhm. Oh,
because I've always been a people pleaser like my whole life. And I think a lot of us
Yeah.
innately are.
right.
Yes.
Um, but I have really had to learn how to give myself grace through all of this.
Mhm.
And, you know, I had a friend of mine tell me when I was sort of like in the pits of it all.
Yeah.
She was like, no is a complete sentence.
It sure
Mhm.
And
is.
I was like, okay, but, and she's like, no, there's no but. No is a
And that's
complete
it. You
sentence.
don't have to explain
You do
yourself.
not have to show up and be everything to everyone all the time.
That's right.
And, having gone through just all the stuff, it's like, I'm a mom. I felt like I had to show up for my kids and I was kind of beating myself up about that, like I'm not showing up enough. And, for my mom and for, my sister and being pulled in all these different directions. And it's like, no, you got to give yourself grace. You don't
Yeah.
have to respond to everything within 5
2.5
minutes.
seconds.
Things can
Yep.
sit, you
Yep.
know? Um, so yeah, I definitely felt that. And yeah,
But
through
even
through
losing
all
your
of
job,
this,
right? When you lost your job, when
mhm,
you were talking about you lost your job, or you were
yes.
laid off at that point, even after having all that grief, you're just like, I don't even want to go back to work. Like it kind of forced
Huh?
you to sit your butt down
Right.
Yes.
and just really like sit with those
Yeah.
emotions and like feel the feels,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know?
That's where I really felt this sense of restoration, like, within that, because I felt so defeated and
Mm,
kinda like, "What the heck am I doing with anything now?" Like, my
Right.
sure.
whole identity is crushed.
That's
Well,
it.
at lea that's how it felt at the time,
Right.
and it did. It forced me to sit down, focus on what's important,
Mhm.
spend a little more time with my family. I did have the privilege of having some severance, so I just leaned into
Thankfully.
that. I was like, "You know
Absolutely.
what? I'm gonna take just these couple weeks, and I'm just gonna do what I need to do
Mhm.
to get my head on straight
Mhm.
somewhat and
Yeah.
push through this, but get some help, be present with my family,
Yeah.
um, and I'll find something again. Something will happen for me
What's meant for
again,
you.
and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
and, I think if I wouldn't have been I can look at it this way now. Like if I wouldn't have been laid off, like I probably would never have started looking into healing. I think I would have just kept going and going and
Mhm.
going and,
Mhm.
I can totally
until
resonate
you
with that, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like
stumble.
on go. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
been 8 months since my sister passed, and I just feel like
Okay.
I have not stopped.
She hasn't. I've
Mhm.
tried.
Yeah.
I've tried. I even had,
Yeah.
good friends of ours to do breath work here.
Right.
And she was just like, "Where am I?" And I go, "Yeah, this is what being
Yeah.
present's supposed to
Right,
be, you
right.
know?"
So I
Mhm.
recently found myself unemployed, and at the same
Okay.
time, my aunt's contract was not renewed, and she
Okay.
just hopped on a flight and came up here, and this past week, we spent the whole week together, and it was like, this would have never
Mhm.
happened,
Mhm.
and my kids went with their dad, for, like, a summer break, so I was very worried about being home alone, no
Mhm.
kids, no
In your
job,
thoughts.
in my
Mhm.
thoughts,
Mhm.
like, I don't
'Cause that's
know, like,
scary.
it's right,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's good you're gonna have the
Mhm.
time to sit with yourself, but also, am I gonna drink the whole time?
Mm.
Am I gonna do things that are, am I really gonna get rest, or am I gonna stay up all night? Like, so
Doom scroll. Yep.
right, doom scrolling and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Yes.
it
I
was
was just gonna
just
say that, drowning
yeah.
in
So then
whatever it is.
when
Yeah.
my aunt came over, then my mom passed by, then her daughters came by, then, so then at one point,
Mhm.
I think I stepped out for something and I opened my door and like all of these women in my family were sitting on my couch. And I was like, this is exactly what I like to see. Like nobody move. And it's like, I would have never had that opportunity had I
Yeah.
been sitting at work. So many times you have family come in and visit you and you're not present because your life still continues.
Mhm.
So it was
Yep.
really nice to like for a week, like have coffee with my aunt. She's my aunt, she's my godmother. She's like a second mom to me. She's my mom's sister. And so yeah, I mean, definitely, definitely. Like, if you find yourself in a position where you are, not working while you're going through grief, agreed, lean in,
Yeah.
lean in. I just got a
Mhm.
house and I was like,
First of all,
oh my
I
God,
mean, like, so many different transitions for
it
her, and I'm,
happened.
like, going through the
I was
transitions
gonna
with
say,
her,
that's like
and I was
5
like,
different
"What?"
things.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, I need to buy a sander and sand the hallway. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a cup of coffee. I'm going to go into that backyard that's attached to that mortgage that I just paid. And I'm going to have
Right?
a cup of coffee in the
and just
sun
relax.
Mhm.
and just enjoy it. And it's true. It's like you just have to breathe sometimes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
I
like
want
just that those mindful moments I had
Mm,
to learn to accept
right.
and to do, because honestly, without them, without stopping and just breathing,
Mhm.
or taking a walk just around the block,
Right.
it's
Taking a shower,
we just get stuck. Yes, taking a shower,
right?
eating
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
because there were days where I'm like, did I eat today or did I
Right.
just,
Just have to
survive?
That
push through.
happens so much in your grief.
Yeah.
Well, you
Mhm.
completely forget to eat.
Sometimes I was, like,
Yeah.
driving, I was like, "How did I get here?"
Right.
Oh, yes. Well, because
That's
'cause you're in, like,
scary,
fight or
right?
flight all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah.
And then I think that so you said, like, your dad with dementia, that also, like,
Mhm.
resonated more with me, so it was like, did it go from dementia
Mm.
to Alzheimer's?
So, no.
Alzheimer's,
So
right.
he had early onset or yeah, young onset dementia. So
Oh,
he
okay.
was 59
Oh,
Wow.
at official diagnosis, but, I mean, there were signs and
Right.
probably could have gotten a diagnosis even younger.
right.
Um, and from the time of diagnosis to time where he passed was just 6 years. It went
Wow.
by so
So
fast.
fast.
And I mean, the decline was just, to me, it felt like rapid,
Mhm.
but it also in moments like felt so slow
Right.
because it's such a painful thing to watch.
Right.
Because with Alzheimer's dementia, there is no there's no medicine, there's
Well,
no
they just I
cure.
that's what
There,
I wanted to bring up
there's
to you. They just
yeah.
posted it on New York Post,
Mhm.
and I don't know. New York Post sometimes is like I think it's like the Sun,
Yeah, yeah.
like a tabloid a little. I'm not like a newsworthy person, but
Mhm.
I did see that they said New York Post breakthrough as 2 FDA approved drugs found to reverse Alzheimer's, including
Mhm.
restoring memory. I thought that was I'm like, wow, like that's like a huge breakthrough.
Yeah. And I think because it's just becoming so much more common, uh, in younger people, to
Yeah.
start showing signs of Alzheimer's dementia that, they're really starting to get into the research. And
Right.
I think that's great because,
Phenomenal.
just seeing my dad go through it, and it really is a life-limiting diagnosis. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, that the end is death. I mean,
Right.
as harsh as that sounds, there's no
It's
like
reality on it.
reversal of this.
Right.
There's no remission of dementia. Sure, you might be able to delay it maybe with some things, but I'm
Right.
not a doctor, but
Do you
yeah, it
feel like
was
you started to grieve him once he was diagnosed?
yes. Um, I didn't know it was grief at the time,
Mhm.
until
Mm.
I started to do my own healing. I had never heard of terms like anticipatory grief.
Grief, yeah.
But it makes complete sense when
Mm.
you are caring for and watching someone, decline.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, every piece of him that sort of became lost. Like I remember vividly when he forgot who I was for the first time.
Oh,
Wow.
And
heartbreak.
I I had a wave of like, I'm so sad and I'm so irritated and so mad that like he's the one that has to go through this, even though he's not the only one, but in my
Right.
world,
That's
Right.
right.
I'm like, this is so unfair,
Yeah.
like why do good people have to suffer, and I
Right.
We always
had
talk
those
about that too.
raw
Yeah.
thoughts, and then I had like guilt comes with that sometimes,
Right.
and but yeah, I remember that vividly. He had gone for a walk and with his dog, and my mom was like, your dad's not back yet. It's not like him. I I don't know. I don't know where he is. I'm gonna take a drive and go this way. Can you meet me and go the other way? And he wasn't far. He was like around the block, but he thought he had heard people fighting. So he had started to walk into the woods, and I had seen him, and I called out to him, and he came to me, and he seemed really confused, and he looked in my car, and he was like had no clue it was me. And I had to be
Wow.
like, "Dad, like it's Stacy, like it's your daughter." And he was like, "Oh." He's like, "What are you doing around here?" And I was like, "Oh my," it was like a punch in the
Right.
gut.
Right.
Sure.
I was like, "Wow, he does not recognize me." And I
Wow.
think that was probably the first time where it really hit me that he wasn't ever going to be the same.
Oh.
Um,
And that's when you started to really see decline. I
yes.
had that with my
Yeah.
dad, but my dad had cancer, so it was like I just
Mhm.
watched him every day, like
Yeah.
decline, decline, decline. Like it was,
Yeah.
and like I would send pictures to my aunt
Mhm.
in Ghana, and you would just see it in his face, and I was just like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like I like
Yeah.
again, I think I can resonate everything that you just said. Like you just saw the decline, and it was just like, and then and you're helpless because what can you do to help? We're not
Yeah.
doctors, we're not anything.
Nothing. Yeah. We have to
Now in
meet them where they are.
retrospect,
And
now in retrospect,
yeah.
what do you think or what advice would you give to somebody else to help them through that? I mean, that is traumatic. That's like from one minute to the next, somebody doesn't know who you are.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
did you deal with that? Or maybe like what advice do you have to, because it's always easier now looking back, right?
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I would tell them one moment at a time,
Mm.
Yeah,
one breath at a time. Try not to think too far ahead,
right,
or too far back.
right.
Focus on being in the present moment,
Mm,
because especially with a disease like dementia and Alzheimer's, it's so easy to miss the past and try to feel like you need to be 5 steps ahead
Mhm.
right.
to, fix whatever that person might be going through,
Right,
and we can't do that.
Right.
so one moment at a time. Um, Another thing is for ourselves as caregivers and family members and friends of a loved one experiencing dementia, we have to take care of ourselves too.
Right.
And choosing one small act of self-care that you can do for yourself a day is going to make a huge difference.
Sure.
You have
And
to show up for
yeah,
yourself so you can show up for
yeah.
other people.
hmm
Yeah.
Right. So
And
before, go ahead.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to
just
cut you
giving
off. Sorry.
yourself grace. Oh
Yeah.
no, I'll just say giving yourself
Yes.
grace because it's
Right.
heavy. It's
Right.
heavy.
It
Yeah.
is. So before we start wrapping up, but I wanted to kind of
Mhm.
jump into grief to purpose program and what impact
Yeah.
did it have on you? I know that that's something that you kind of brought up in the beginning of the episode,
Mhm.
so I kind of wanted to tap into that a little bit.
Yeah, I came across the Grief to Purpose program on Instagram, and honestly, I'm not someone that typically, responds to ads I see or things like that. And I was in this space of wrapping up some big things I had to take care of personally from other losses that we had experienced. And I was sitting at home one day and I came across Life Landry and I signed up for her Grief to Purpose program. And what resonated so much with me and what kind of encouraged me to go through with it was the fact that not only was I going to learn tools to
Right.
create a business and become a grief coach, I was required to attend grief support for myself and engage in activities and, um, do a lot of homework and digging into who I was and how grief was affecting me. And uh, it has changed me in tremendous ways. I've learned, all about anticipatory grief, that grief is not linear. It's ever changing. The stages of grief are not meant to be followed in a specific order that life ebbs and flows, our grief ebbs and flows. And it really ignited that spark in me again of how much I love to help people
Mm.
and work alongside people and hear their stories and come up with strategies and supports to be able to move forward.
Right.
Because grief's going to be with us.
No
It's going to
matter
be
what.
with us until the end of our time. And
Absolutely.
it's going to show up when and how it wants to show up. And,
Mhm.
we're not always going to be able to predict that and having tools to really help us navigate that and understand our own grief and our triggers and all of that is going to be very helpful in the long run. So the program really changed me in that way of learning more about myself as well as ways to walk alongside others in their journey.
Yeah, that's powerful. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liz.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. What an amazing.
So how can people contact you? How can they follow you on social? I mean, go ahead. Talk about
Yeah.
tell us.
So right now I am on Instagram at Stacy Vargo _grief coach.
Mhm.
I am currently writing a children's book. So once that's out, I
Yeah.
will let you all know. Yes.
Yes, please.
And yeah, but right now I'm just on Instagram. So Stacy Vargo _grief coach. And you can message me there, follow me. And yeah, would love to connect.
I love this.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us.
And
Thank
thank you so
you.
much. And thank you. I just love this. And we hope to have you back on. I mean, I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
please.
Yes. And to
I
keep
would
in
love
touch.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, just to
definitely.
let our audience know, you can follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Instagram.
Instagram, TikTok, Tickety Talk. That's you, girl. That ain't me. I'm so
I love it.
Just as
no.
anti-TikTok, but
It's, I'm
I
anti.
know,
It's
but
like another thing to
right,
down a rabbit hole. I'm
right.
good.
It's
I'm
true.
good with Insta.
It's
I'm
true.
good, But yeah, just like, follow, share, subscribe. Also, go and like Stacy's page and follow her through her journey, and reach out if you need a grief coach. And thank you so
Yes,
much.
please.
And thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining
Yes,
us.
thank you.
Thank you.